guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to continue on with this conversation about James Charles and minors, and actually something that involves me. Like something that involves me and James Charles straight up attacking me. And no one ever talked about it. I never talked about it. And you know what? I wish someone had spoken up for me. No one did in this argument. Other than, you know what, Gossip Garden, I fuck with you. They did. No one spoke up for me in this. They just allowed James Charles to bully, and do you want to say the word slander? Y'all love saying drama channel slander. He slandered me. And no one stood up for me whenever it was happening, and he's now showing similar behavior with victim blaming and stuff like this to minors. And so, you know what? I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm going to speak up for 17-year-old Adam, coming from 18-year-old Adam. So basically, for a little bit of context, James Charles did a bunch of tweets coming for me around April time of 2020, and it was right after I had done the video in which I talked about my experience with Colleen. No, Colleen Ballinger, by the way. Now, this video is not going to be about her, because it doesn't have to be. It's going to be about him involving himself for the sake of attacking a minor. Because he knew the power imbalance between him, his fans, and the minor, them two together against the minor, would set the minor off the edge. Now, I was not on Twitter, not on my phone during this time, whatever, because whenever I said I posted that video and I kind of went away, I meant that. I needed to, otherwise I don't know what the fuck I would have done. So basically, I posted that video. It got a couple thousand views. Turned the comments off because I was not going to sleep because I kept reading the comments. Mom told me to turn the comments off. I turned the comments off. Then I was able to go to sleep because I wasn't like... The story was so real that like people criticizing it really upset me. So that happened, and so then I woke up the next day and the video started going in this bigger direction than I never wanted it to. And I genuinely do mean that whenever I say that, because that video is... I would have made myself look a lot prettier in that video. The video's purpose was to disassociate myself with something that was so prominent, even on my YouTube channel, which is why I did it on my YouTube channel. My audience came from Colleen and friends I made in that fandom. And people would watch my videos just to be like, oh my god, like, hey, is Colleen watching this one? So I just had to make that disconnect. So that's what the purpose of that video. And also just other issues. But you know what? Again, I am going to stick to my thing and not make this video about her. So, and again, wish her and her family all the best. James, on the other hand, I've had this issue with him, and I had the even bigger issue that people were so okay with him doing this. And I guess the conversation with him victim blaming minors wasn't as strong back then, because it was still kind of people being like, oh, you know what Taddy did to him or whatever. So basically, the video started to die down. And I remember I was like, oh, in a couple days, you know, I'll go back on Twitter or whatever. And I got a text from my friend, Ellie, and then a text from Brian. And it basically said, James Charles is attacking you on Twitter. And I was like, that's weird, because like my computer would have got notifications or something like that. No, he did it without adding me and doing it on a very public thread in response to Colleen, to people talking about the video, without adding me and just completely coming after me, because he knew as well that I wasn't on social media during this time, so I didn't respond to him. I did not respond to him because I wasn't on fucking Twitter. Now I'm going to read you out the tweets that he said about a minor in this situation as well, keep in mind. But hey, that's the norm with James, isn't it? He does his little thing, he victim blames the minor, and then done deal. So, here is some tweets that James did in response to people being like, why hasn't Colleen talked about the video, whatever like that. He said, it's literally all lies. Do you know me, James? Do you know me? Do you know what happened in that? Do you know what happened in that story, James? Why is it as well that you did all these tweets and then kind of just went silent whenever people were like, okay, show us? prove what you're saying here about this child. He didn't. He ran. It's literally all lies. The boy begged Colleen for the panties for years. Wrong. Remember the lingerie? Wrong. We want to get into the real fucking nitty-gritty of that? There was a note attached and I wanted the letter. But James, this isn't uncommon for you to, you know, even yourself do things with minors, whatever that may be. And then, you know, you can just say that they wanted it. Or, you know, they were big fans of me and, you know, it was really sweet of them, whatever. So, it's not surprising looking back on these tweets. The boy begged Colleen for the panties for years. He ran her Twitter for one day. Also, not true. Again, but hey, y'all, if he said the real story, it wouldn't be applicable then that his followers would be able to send death threats and harassment and all this to the kid. And she never ghosted him either. In fact, he tried to bring... she never ghosted him either. In fact, he tried to bring her child into the argument. From one child to another, James. Which you're aware of. Seems a little bit too much these days. Sure, his story doesn't look the best, but he's looking for attention since Colleen won't give it to him anymore. I was looking for attention? I left social media! I literally left social media! I'm looking for fucking attention. You involved yourself in the situation, not making any stance in this other than attacking the child because there's a power imbalance. And you knew that, James. Fuck out of here with the bullshit of you being like, you know, he just wanted attention, whatever. Victim blaming again. And you know what, James? You've said that about every single minor who's came forward against you saying that you acted inappropriate with them. You said that they're only coming forward because they're looking for clout, they're trying to use your name, whatever like this. I'm not saying their stories are true, I'm not saying their stories are false or whatever, but you seem to use the same vocabulary for everything whenever it comes to minors to defend your actions, whether they're telling the truth or not. We want to have that conversation? I've never been this, like, straight up point blank period in a video ever before, but you know what, James? With repetitive behavior, you say all the time, James Charles, you say, you know, cancel culture is so bad. Let's go base by base, like, if a person's actions change over time. Yours have stayed the same over time. And y'all are feeding it instead about giving me attention. What are you doing then, James? What the fuck are you doing? Even if she did address it, people would say she's attacking a minor. Yeah, she was smart not to. You, on the other hand, it's just a daily Wednesday for you. Let her take care of her family and her son during this pandemic and worry about something else, please. I'm tired of seeing my friend dragged over lies. Over lies? Again, this language he seems to use with everything, right? Now, these tweets, to be honest, for James Charles' standard, did really bad. They only got like 1.3k likes. Because people were like, why is he getting involved? People weren't attacking him. The people who listened and bitch, they came through my mentions and my DMs. They sent me the worst shit. But you know what? Hey, whatever. Because people were like, why is he getting involved? Why is he coming for the minor? Like, wait, please. So, Gossip Garden, the garden cat, I love you by the way, responded and said, back then, prove it. Seriously, prove that Adam was lying or shut the fuck up and stop blaming a child. Then he went silent, because you know what? He had nothing to prove. There was literally nothing that could back up what he said. And then, these are other ones. I typed in James Charles, like, attacks minors on fucking Google, and this came up. So these were the tweets that he said, continuing going on. This was like a little afternoon session for James. Sure, this is fair. It's not like they were dirty, used underwear. They were brand new with the tag on. He begged for them for months straight. Oh, it's changing, y'all. It's not years, it's months now. Was excited to get them, and the Miranda character is obviously weird. Smart choice, probably not. Child groomer, absolutely not. Yeah, we'll save that word for, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Interesting, isn't it, James? Interesting. Interesting. So, another one. So then, the amount of death threats that I was getting, the amount of harassment, again, I put myself online. It's warranted in my opinion. I put myself out there, I was allowed to get it. But James realized that so many of his own fans were sending me death threats, sending me hate, sending me harassment like this, very well aware that James was like calling me a child and kid and all like this. And then people started calling James out. They were like, you realize that you doing this has added nothing more than you victim blaming a child in a situation you're not involved in, and now the child's getting death threats. And he was like, no one is encouraging bullying and harassment. It doesn't matter how old he is. He lied. You are encouraging the mentality that lying is okay and anyone who stands up for themselves is a bully. I'm gonna give you a little clap for that performance. Jesus. Look at that little show you just put on. No one is encouraging bullying or harassment. It doesn't matter how old he is. Yeah, James, we're well aware that you live by that quote these days. It's not, doesn't matter how old he is. Let it be known, what goes around comes around, James. You did all this, and for what? I didn't drag you. I let you do it. My friends told me it was happening. They sent me the screenshots. And now keep in mind, before I go on, right? Not a drama channel, not a commentary channel, not a journalist, not anything at this stage. Doing like fucking wacky ass, dumbass comedy videos on YouTube. James Charles, a big name on YouTube. I'm getting these texts from my friends saying James Charles is attacking me on Twitter, and literally the main reason that my phone is blowing up with death threats right now. In that situation, I was like, holy fuck, James Charles is like, first of all, aware of me, and second of all, it was like, in that situation, why did James Charles get involved and was like the most predominant figure in it? Were sales down? Views down, James? You did that for what? Were you jealous that you couldn't add me on Snapchat and you couldn't flirt with me? Or is it because I'm a year older than the ones you seemingly go for? You know, I was 17 back then, and what you're being called out for now is allegedly, you know, flirting with 16-year-olds. Was I a year too old? But damn, y'all, if I made that video a year sooner, he would probably be on my side. You know what I mean, James? It's honestly ridiculous. So anyway, those were the tweets. Just wanted to call out a pattern of behavior I'm seeing. And also, I have never seen anyone ever talk about that. And I'm aware how awful that period was, still to this day. And I am a completely different person I am now than I was back then. Literally a fucking shell of myself back then, and I'm not saying that for sympathy or whatever. I'm saying that as in, I'm a fucking boss now, and I'm gonna stand the fuck up for that 17-year-old child who was so far gone. Hate me, comment me, say why are you still talking about this, whatever the fuck, I honestly do not care. Back then, if I was able to look at what I'm doing now and standing up fucking against you and what you did, James, I wouldn't believe it. And so, besides calling out your hypocrisy, calling out your pattern of behavior of attacking and victim blaming minors, I just need to make it very apparent that I'm doing this video as a bit of closure for me on that situation, on something I've never talked about before. Not very good with your words, James. Or your actions. Or your blending in your makeup. But we'll not get shady. Bye, besties.